16 already of the fantasy baseball season. What a good week 15 it was coming out of the All-Star break. And now here's a few pitchers I looked at on waivers this week. The first guy's Touki Toussaint of the Atlanta Braves. So he came back here in week 15, Toussaint, and he had 2 outings in the week here. And he's pitched well so far in his return from injury. So Toussaint, a former top prospect in the Brave organization. And we know the Braves definitely need starting pitching, even though a couple guys have come around over the last few weeks, like Drew Smyly, Charlie Morton, and Max Fried has got his stuff together as well. So far in the season here for Toussaint, 13 2/3, 1-1 record for him, 8 hits given up, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 15 strikeouts, a 1.30 ERA, and an 0.71 whip with 2 quality starts so far for Toussaint. So Toussaint here, he's got upside in my opinion, and fantasy owners, they see it as well here, adding him in 27% of fantasy leagues, and he's still available in 73% of fantasy leagues. But after yesterday's outing for Toussaint at the Philadelphia Phillies, I think that number is going to bump up to 40% by week's end here in the addition off the waiver wire. So the first 2 outings for him, July 20th versus San Diego, 6 2/3 got the win, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a 1.35 ERA, 0.75 whip, and a quality start. July 25th at Philly, 7 innings, tough luck loser like I mentioned yesterday, 1 earned run, a homer, 10 Ks, a 1.29 ERA, and an 0.71 whip and a quality start. So right now he's gone out there and he's even gone deep into ball games in his first 2 outings. And we know the Braves need it, and you know fantasy owners can never have enough starting pitching. So if you need a starter here, Toussaint's a perfect pickup this week in my opinion. The second pitcher to pick up this week's Joshua Gray of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Gray, he came up for the injured Clayton Kershaw this season here is Gray. And so far he's got 2 outings under his belt is Gray in the early going since he got called up on the season. So far 8 innings pitched for Gray. No record, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 homers given up, 5 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 5.50 ERA, and a 1.45 whip so far for Gray. So Gray, he hasn't gone deep into ball games so far here for this Dodger team. But right here, he wasn't a pitcher really stretched out over the last few weeks in the minor leagues for whatever reason. So his first outing, July 20th versus San Francisco, 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 homers, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 9 ERA, and a 1.25 whip. And July 25th yesterday versus the Rockies, 4 innings, no decision, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, 4 walks, 6 Ks, a 4.5 ERA, and a 1.75 whip for Joshua Gray. So Gray, he's available still in 73% of leagues like Toussaint, but he's already been owned as well in 25% of fantasy leagues this week. Has only just gone up, and right now, if you need a guy with high upside, even though so far in his first 2 outings we haven't seen it, I think Gray's definitely worth an add this week. Ryan Yarborough of the Tampa Bay Rays, so he's been up and down the last few weeks here, Yarborough, after getting off to a great start to start the season here for the Rays and fantasy owners. And right now on the season here for Yarborough, 109 innings, 6-4 record on the season, 110 hits, 53 earned runs, 16 homers given up, 20 walks, 90 strikeouts, a 4.59 ERA, a 1.22 whip, and 6 quality starts on the season here for Yarborough. In the last couple weeks for him, for Yarborough, it's been a mixed bag of results so far. 0-1 record in the time, 12 2/3 of an inning for Yarborough, 13 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, a 5.53 ERA, 1.76 whip, and a quality start. So Yarborough, it seems like every other start he has a good outing, and that's been the pattern for him over the last couple weeks here. And right now he's still available, Yarborough, in 53% of fantasy leagues. And with the trade of Rich Hill from Tampa to the New York Mets, he's definitely got a spot still locked up in this starting rotation for the first place Tampa Bay Rays. So far the last few outings here for Yarborough, July 10th versus Toronto, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a 3.60 ERA, 1.40 whip. July 19th versus Baltimore, 5 2/3 got the loss, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a 9.53 ERA, 1.76 whip, and then yesterday at the Cleveland Indians, 7 innings, no decision, 5 hits, 1 earned run, a homer, a walk, 6 Ks, a 1.29 ERA, and an 0.86 whip with the quality start. So right now, like I mentioned, he's in every other good starter is Yarborough, but he's going to have a spot in the rotation, and he's on a first-place team, like I mentioned, in the Rays, and right now he's definitely a guy worth an ad who could give you quality innings, has a good strikeout rate, and he's available, like I mentioned, still in a decent amount of leagues at 53%. The next pitch is Rich Hill of the New York Mets, and the newly acquired Rich Hill had his Met debut yesterday versus the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that obviously he's familiar with, especially coming from Tampa Bay, going to the New York Mets. And Hill, it's the same old with him. He's only going to be a 5-6 inning pitcher at most here at his 41-year-old age is Hill. So on the season for him, 100 in the third inning, 6-4 record, 80 hits given up, 44 earned runs, 38 walks, 92 strikeouts for Hill, a 3.99 ERA, and a 1.18 whip with 5 quality starts on the season for Hill. In the last couple weeks for Hill in the time, 14 innings pitched, 0-1 record, 15 hits given up, 9 earned runs, a homer, 7 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 5 ERA, and a 1.64 whip in the time here for Hill. So Hill, obviously I like the move for the New York Mets. If you didn't see that video, go check it out after I go over that trade and the fantasy impact Rich Hill will have for the New York Mets and fantasy owners. And right now he's only owned in 50% of leagues and obviously available in 50% as well. So the last 3 outings, like I mentioned for Hill, July 11th versus Pittsburgh, 5 innings, got the loss, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a homer, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 5.40 ERA, a 1.40 whip. July 18th at Pittsburgh, 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a 6.75 ERA, and a 2 whip. And then July 25th, yesterday, like I mentioned, in his New York Met debut, 5 innings, no decision, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, a Ks, a 5.40 ERA, and a 1.40 whip. So right now, I know the last 3 outings haven't been good for Hill, but Hill, he started off the game good for the Mets here. But then in that 6th inning, he got in trouble with runners getting on, and Seth Lugo couldn't hold any of them on, and he got all 3 runs charged to him this Hill. But right now, he's in the National League. Obviously, you're going to verse the pitcher, and you're not going to verse those tough lineups like he did in the AL East with the Yankees, Red Sox, Baltimore, and Toronto. So right here, I think he's definitely worth an ad, and he's on a first-place team like I mentioned with the Mets. And the only downside for him is he just don't go deep into games, but maybe with his new team, he'll start doing that here. Is Rich Hill. The next pitch is Patrick Sandoval of the Los Angeles Angels. So Sandoval, he was 2 outs away from a no-hitter in his latest outing. And right now, he's still available with Sandoval in a whopping 69% of fantasy leagues. So he's going to be one of the hottest pickups, in my opinion, this week here, especially after almost throwing a no-hitter with Sandoval on the season. 71 2/3, 3-4 record. Even got a save under his belt before he became a full-time starter for this Angel team. 53 hits, 28 earned runs, 10 homers, 26 walks, 81 strikeouts. That's very solid 3.52 ERA, 1.10 whip, and 4 quality starts in the last couple weeks for him. 15 2/3, 1-1 record, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 walks, 22 strikeouts, 2.87 ERA, 0.57 whip, and a quality start in the time here for Sandoval. So Sandoval, the last 3 outings, he's gone deep into ball games, 7 innings or more here. July 10th at Seattle, 7 innings, got the tough loss, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, 1.14 whip, and the quality start. July 18th versus Seattle, 7 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, a walk, 9 Ks, a 5.14 ERA, a 1 whip. And then July 14th, like I mentioned, and July 24th, like I mentioned, in Minnesota, 8 2/3, 2 outs away from a no-hitter. Got the win, 1 hit, 1 earned run, a walk, 13 strikeouts, 1.4 ERA, and an 0.23 whip with the quality starts. So Sandoval, he's gone out there and he's pitched very well, like I mentioned here, in the last 3 outings. And he's a player that should have more eyes on him and a player that should be definitely added in more fantasy leagues. And like I mentioned, after that big outing, he's going to be added a ton this week in fantasy leagues. The next pitch is Tyler McGill of the New York Mets. So McGill, he's come out of nowhere for this Met team. And this Met team, they definitely needed a starter. And obviously we saw him go out there and trade for Rich Hill. And now McGill coming from their minor league system. But it wouldn't surprise me to see here within the next few days before the Major League Baseball trading deadline, the Mets getting another starter to shore up the rotation and try to compete with these good teams here like the San Francisco Giants, Dodgers, San Diego Padres, and the Milwaukee Brewers in the playoffs if they hold on in the NL East. But so far in the early going for McGill of his career, 30 innings, 1-0 record, 23 hits given up, 7 earned runs, 3 homers, 10 walks, 33 strikeouts, a great 2.10 ERA, a 1.10 whip, and 2 quality starts in the time. In the last couple weeks for him, he's been one of the best pitchers in fantasy baseball. 12 innings, 1-0 record, 9 hits, 1 walk, no runs given up, 7 Ks, an 0.83 whip, and 2 quality starts here for McGill. So right now, McGill, he's pretty much the 4th or 5th starter for this Met team. We know Jacob deGrom's hurt. We don't know when he's coming back. We know Joey Lucchesi and David Peterson in this Met rotation are out for the season. So right now they definitely got to count on McGill. And Noah Syndergaard, there's no timetable for his return with his latest setback a few weeks ago. They're hoping for September, but in my opinion, I don't think we even see Syndergaard this season. And Carlos Carrasco, I don't know where he's been or how bad his injury's been, but this guy's in witness protection or something. He hasn't pitched all season, and obviously he was part of the Francisco Lindor deal to bolster this rotation. But like I mentioned, I think the Mets go out there and add another starter. But right now, you can't take McGill out of the rotation while he's pitching well, even though in my opinion, I think it's beginner's luck. And when he gets a few more starts under his belt, I think the league's going to catch up to him. But we'll see. And he's worked an edge right now. The last few outings for him, July 10th versus Pittsburgh, 3 2/3, no decision, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 7 Ks, a 2.45 ERA, 1.91 whip. July 17th at the Pirates, 6 innings, no decision, 6 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, 1 whip, and a quality start. And July 23rd versus the Toronto Blue Jays, 6 innings, got the win, 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks, no runs, an 0.50 whip, and a quality start. So right now, he's still available, McGill, in 75% of fantasy leagues, and he's definitely worth an ad this week. No sign that the Mets are going to take him out of the rotation. And like I mentioned, with all those injuries, this guy's going to have a spot unless they get another starter or two at the trading deadline. The next pitcher is Gregory Soto of the Detroit Tigers. So Soto, he's got a lock on that closer role over there in Detroit. And I know Detroit's not a good team. There's not going to be many save opportunities throughout the season. But Soto, he's gone out there and he's pitched pretty well. And owners, they've taken notice to it as well, added in 22% of fantasy leagues over the week. So on the season, 40 innings, 4-1 record here for Soto, 11 saves, 30 hits, 12 earned runs, 3 homers, 22 walks, 48 strikeouts, 2.70 ERA, 1.30 whip in the last couple weeks for him, 4 1/3, 4 saves, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, 5 Ks, a 2.08 ERA, and a 1.15 whip. So right now, Soto, he's going out there, and believe it or not, he's one of the better fantasy closers over the last couple months here. We've seen big-time closers like Edwin Diaz struggle the last few weeks, even though he's calmed down now in his last 2 outings. We've seen Chapman blow saves, Melanson's blown a few here and there, so a lot of guys throughout the league are blowing saves. But right here, I know Soto ain't on a great team, but if you need some saves and a guy who's going to give you a decent ERA and not really hurt it or the whip, he's definitely worth an ad, in my opinion, this week. Is Tristan McKenzie of the Cleveland Indians. So McKenzie, he's been a hot topic over the last few weeks of a pitcher to add on the waiver wire. But he's another guy that's up and down, one good start, one bad start. And right now, he's owned in 36% of leagues and in 64% of fantasy leagues. Here's McKenzie. On the season for him, 59 1/3, 1-4 record, 42 hits given up, 37 runs, 11 home runs given up, 42 walks for McKenzie, 75 strikeouts, a 5.81 ERA, and a 1.37 whip with 2 quality starts on the season here from McKenzie. So McKenzie, he's gone out there, and like I mentioned, 1 good start and 1 bad start for him. But this guy's got major upside. We saw it last season in 33 innings where he had a 3.24 ERA, and he had 42 strikeouts. And this season his strikeouts are up, but the problem for him's been walks and the erraticity here from McKenzie. So if he could get his walks under control, and when he does this season, we've seen him pitch gems and have good outings. So the last 3 outings since he came back up to the major leagues: July 9th, 7 innings versus Kansas City, 1 hit, no runs given up, a walk, 9 strikeouts, an 0.29 whip and a quality start. July 20th at Houston, 4 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, a walk, 3 Ks, 11.25 ERA, a 2.25 whip. And then his latest outing, yesterday versus the Tampa Bay Rays, he went out there and he pitched well, 6 innings, no decision, 5 hits, 2 runs, a homer given up, a walk, 6 Ks, a 3 ERA, a 1 whip and a quality start. So McKenzie so far, since he came back from that 1-month stint in the minor leagues, his walks have gone down, with only 3 walks in 3 games. He's pitched pretty well, except that July 20th game at Houston. And right now, like I mentioned, available in 64% of fantasy leagues with good upside. He's definitely worth an ad, in my opinion, this week. Here is Tristan McKenzie. The next pitcher is John Gray of the Colorado Rockies. So John Gray, he's been pretty consistent this season, surprisingly, here for the Rockies. And fantasy owners who have him is Gray. But Gray's still available in 55% of fantasy leagues. On the season for Gray, 98 innings, 6-6 record, 80 hits given up, 40 earned runs, 12 home runs given up, 40 walks, 91 strikeouts, still a 3.65 ERA, and a 1.30 whip on the season for Gray, with 9 quality starts. So those are pretty good numbers on the season here, especially for a pitcher who pitches at Coors Field. And another guy like McKenzie, who's been erratic throughout his career, walking a lot of batters. So the last couple weeks here for Gray, 18 innings, 1-0 record for him, 13 hits given up, 5 runs, 3 home runs given up, 8 walks, 18 strikeouts for Gray, 2.50 ERA, and a 1.18 whip in this time with 2 quality starts. So right here, he's been added in 13% of fantasy leagues throughout the week is Gray. And right now, he's going out there versus tough teams. He's pitching well, and he's getting the job done here as of now. In the last 3 outings from July 11th at San Diego, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, a run given up, 3 walks, 7 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, a 1 whip and a quality start. July 18th versus the Dodgers, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, 1.14 whip and a quality start. And July 25th at the Dodgers yesterday, 5 innings in that one he went, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 homers given up, 3 walks, 4 Ks, a 3.60 ERA, and a 1.40 whip. So right here, John Gray, he's gone out there and he's pitching good, and I wouldn't be surprised if they dangle him at the trade deadline. Maybe package him with Trevor Story is the Rockies, because obviously in that tough NL West, they're not going to compete for anything this season. And right here, it's very good numbers, especially with 3 monster teams like the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres in that division. So John Gray's pitching well, and if he gets traded to a contender and out of Coors Field, it could be sky's the limit for him as well. So right now, he's definitely worth an ad on the waiver wire this week. And the final pitcher I'd look to add this week's Cole Irvin of the Oakland Athletics. So Cole Irvin, he's been an up and down pitcher this season, but he's been pitching pretty decent the last few outings here for the Oakland A's and fantasy owners. But right now, he's still available in 56% of fantasy leagues. On the season for Irvin, 117 innings pitched, 7-8 record, 118 hits given up, 47 earned runs, 10 homers given up, 21 walks, 84 strikeouts, a 3.52 ERA, and a 1.24 whip with 10 quality starts in the time here for Irvin. So Irvin, he's been pretty solid. He's getting guys out. He's going deeper into games, even though I know his latest outing at Seattle wasn't all that great, but that's one outing right now, in my opinion. And I think he could bounce back and pitch well. And hey, if he gets dropped in some leagues after this bad outing, I still will go out there and get him. The last few outings for Irvin: July 9th at Texas, 5 innings, got the loss, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, a 5.40 ERA, 0.60 whip. July 19th versus the Angels, 7 innings, got the win, 7 hits, a walk, 3 Ks, 1.14 whip in a quality start. And then his latest outing, like I mentioned, at the Mariners, 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, 3 Ks, a 9 ERA, and a 1.50 whip in this time here for Irvin. So if you need a back-end starter, I don't think he's bad. And he's a guy that definitely could go out there and give fantasy owners in Oakland quality starts. So right now, I think Irvin's worth an add. A few pitches I looked at on the waiver wire here in Week 16 of the fantasy baseball season.